Well, welcome to this lesson. In the last lesson, I showed you how to create style rules in line. And so if we look over here in Notepad, where it says H1 style, I'm setting a style rule for any heading 1. And I tell the font size, I say, hey, here's my style. The font size is going to be 36 pixels. And then I have the text for an H1 for a heading right there. And as you can see over here, where it says "Welcome to my awesome web page," here is the that's what it looks like. It's just the font size is 36 pixels, and it's using, of course, the default font for a web page. This time I'm using Chrome. But sometimes, if I do a heading and then I do another heading down here, I don't want to have to do the style rule for each one. What if I put a style rule at the top of the document, of the HTML document, and made it so that every time there is a heading, an H1 heading, it's going to have the same rule right here? Well, that's easy. CSS makes it easy to do that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and you put style rules, and for CSS, a CSS style sheet, in what's called the heading, or the head of a document. So I'm going to create a head, and I'm going to end the head right here. And then inside the head, I'm going to create a style sheet. And you do that by saying, hey, here's some style. And it's going to be style, and the type is going to be text CSS. And then we end that tag. Well, we end the start of the tag. And now I'm going to put the end of the tag down here. Okay, that's where so I'm going to define my style sheet in between this style and the end style tags. But the syntax for a style sheet is not the same as it is for for the HTML. It's a little bit different. And what you have are three things. You have a selector. So I'm going to start out with my selector, and I'm going to start out with the body. I'm going to hit a tab button because I like to line these things up. And I'm going to hit tab again. Now I'm going to say the body, and I'm going to have, so the selector is the body. That means everything in the body of my HTML document is going to have these style rules applied to them. And so I'm going to say background color, I would like to be gray. Now, notice the syntax right here is similar to what's inside the quotes right here when you make a style rule in line. When you make a style rule and a style sheet at the top in the head of an HTML document, you use that same syntax, but you don't have to put the quotes around it, because you have, this is called the selector, then you have the property, and then this is the value for the property, and then that semicolon tells you the end of the statement, and the colon is in between the property and the value. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to add another property and value for my body of my document. I'm going to have the color, let's see, why don't I have the a margin, a left margin for all the content in here to be 15 pixels. And I'm going to end that property, those style rules for body, with that squiggly bracket. Now, the squiggly brackets are next to the P. You got to hit a shift key to make them squiggly brackets. Now, for everything that's inside a paragraph tag, I'm going to create a rule for those also. So I use P because that's the paragraph tag. And for, by the way, you don't have to have spaces like I have it. I'm just using the tab button because I like all my rules to line up so I know, so it's easy for me to find what I'm looking for. I'm going to make a rule for the paragraph tag now. So I'm going to say that I want the font size to be, why don't I have it be 20 pixels? I end that statement. And now I just hit enter and then tab to line that up. Now I want the font color. So I just say color right here. is going to be, what did I say, blue. I'm going to end my paragraph tag, and then I'm going to do a rule for the for an H1 heading, I mean. And I do my squiggly bracket, and I'm going to say the rule for it. I want the heading to be, why don't we make this heading be 48 pixels, just for fun. 48 px, end statement there. And why don't we have the color be red? And I end the statement with a semicolon. And now I need to do one other thing. I need to end that tag right there. Now I'm going to save this. I'm going to go Control S and save it. And I'm going to refresh it over here by hitting F5. And notice how it changed all that style all those style elements. You will notice though that right here in the heading down here, it's only 36 pixels. Well, why would that be 36 pixels? Well, it's because the closest style rule is down here in line. And an HTML, a browser will look for, it'll use the style rule that's closest to the text. So I'm going to delete this style rule right here. And then I'm going to save it. And I'm going to come over here now, and I'm going to refresh it. And now, do you see how that jumped up to be 48 pixels? So now it's using this style rule up here. But you notice how it was red before in the heading down here also, because I didn't make a red style rule in line right here, and so it used the red style rule up here. Now this red is really hard on the eyes, so I don't like that. So I'm going to change this to white, and I'm going to Control Save, and then I'm going to go over here and refresh it. Oh, that's a lot better on the eyes, isn't it? Now I didn't make a heading a rule for the H2 selector, but I did make it for the body, paragraph, and style. And if I want to change anything right here, I can change. If I want to change any of the rules for any of these tags, I can just create a rule up here in the style, between the style tags, and I already have everything set up. You have to use the syntax. It's very specific. And now go ahead and have fun with it.